Every time you send a message, stream a video, or open an app, your data travels to a building like this one, a data center. From the outside, it looks almost like nothing. Plain concrete walls, no windows, minimal signage, sometimes not even a company name, visible anywhere. That's completely intentional. These facilities are among the most secure buildings on Earth, and for good reason. They house the digital infrastructure of banks, governments, hospitals, and nearly every major company you can think of. Getting inside requires layered security. Most office buildings never even consider perimeter fencing topped with cameras, vehicle barriers, badge-controlled entry points, and biometric scanners like fingerprint or retina identification. In many facilities, a single person can't even enter certain zones alone. It requires two-person authorization, specifically to prevent any single point of failure or insider risk. Once inside, you enter a completely different world. Massive halls stretch out under bright industrial lighting, filled with row after row of server racks, each one packed with computing hardware running continuously, every second of every day, all year round. These racks are arranged with almost military precision, organized into corridors, connected by thousands of fiber optic cables, carrying data at nearly the speed of light. The facility itself is divided into cold aisles, where chilled air is pushed in, and hot aisles, where heat is pulled out. A carefully engineered airflow system designed to prevent thousands of processors from overheating simultaneously. Meanwhile, in a separate control room, engineers sit in front of walls of monitors, watching a network operations center track performance, temperature, and data traffic in real time, every minute of the day. This is the physical infrastructure quietly, invisibly powering nearly everything you do online. Inside every one of those racks are the true workhorses of the modern internet. Servers, built specifically to run continuously every hour of every day without ever powering down. Each server contains processors, memory, and increasingly specialized chips like GPUs. Graphics processing units originally designed for gaming, now repurposed to handle the massive computing workloads required by modern artificial intelligence. Some of today's largest data centers house tens of thousands of these GPUs, all working together in parallel, processing enormous amounts of data at the exact same moment. Alongside all that compute power sits storage, vast arrays of hard drives and solid-state drives, holding everything from personal photos and emails to entire company databases and financial records, all needing instant access at any given moment from anywhere in the world. Connecting every piece of this puzzle is the network layer, switches and routers directing data traffic between thousands of servers at incredible speed, making split-second decisions to ensure information reaches exactly where it needs to go, often in a matter of milliseconds. But here's the reality. Hardware fails. At this massive scale, it's not a question of if, but when. That's precisely why every single rack is constantly monitored. Status lights, diagnostic software, and technicians on standby around the clock, trained to detect and replace failing components before they ever cause a noticeable disruption. In a well-run facility, a single failed drive or a single failed server almost never means downtime for the end user at all, because the entire system is deliberately engineered with redundancy built in from the very beginning, designed to keep running smoothly no matter what individual piece of hardware happens to fail along the way. With thousands of processors running non-stop, 24 hours a day, data centers generate an enormous, constant amount of heat. And managing that heat is genuinely one of the biggest engineering challenges inside the entire facility. In fact, cooling alone can account for nearly half of a data center's total energy consumption, making it just as critical as the computing hardware itself. The most common method used today is hot and cold aisle containment. Cold air is deliberately pushed directly into server intakes, while hot exhaust air is captured separately in a sealed corridor and removed entirely, preventing the two temperatures from mixing and wasting valuable energy in the process. But as computing demands continue to grow, especially with the explosion of AI workloads requiring far more processing power, traditional air cooling isn't always sufficient anymore. That's why many modern facilities are shifting toward liquid cooling, running coolant directly through small tubes connected to a processor, pulling heat away far more efficiently than air alone ever could manage. Some of the most cutting-edge facilities go even further, using something called immersion cooling, where entire servers are submerged directly into a specially engineered, non-conductive liquid that absorbs heat instantly. Throughout all of this, engineers constantly monitor temperature and humidity levels across every single zone using real-time sensors, ready to adjust airflow instantly the moment any area starts running even slightly too hot. Get cooling wrong at this scale, and hardware can fail within minutes. Get it right, and thousands of servers can run reliably, without interruption, for years, without a single overheating incident ever occurring.
None of this works without one absolutely critical resource: power, and an enormous continuous amount of it. A single large data center can consume as much electricity as an entire small city, running around the clock without ever stopping. That power arrives through dedicated high-voltage transmission lines, feeding directly into the facility's own electrical infrastructure, completely separate from a typical residential or commercial power grid connection. But even a brief power outage lasting just a few seconds could mean catastrophic data loss or widespread downtime affecting millions of users, so every serious data center is built with multiple layers of redundancy. Uninterruptible power supply systems, essentially massive rooms full of industrial batteries, kick in instantly the moment grid power fails, bridging that critical gap in a matter of milliseconds, long before anyone would even notice a disruption. Behind that first layer of protection, massive diesel generators stand ready as a second line of defense, fully capable of running the entire facility independently for hours, and in some cases, even days, if the situation requires it. These backup systems are tested regularly and rigorously, simulating real-world outages to make absolutely certain the transition between power sources is truly seamless every single time. Increasingly, data center operators are also investing heavily in renewable energy sources, solar arrays and wind power, both to reduce their overall environmental footprint and to diversify where their electricity actually comes from. Every part of this facility, from a single server's blinking light to the massive generators humming outside, exists for one singular purpose: to make sure the digital world never actually stops running. The next time your app loads instantly, remember, there's an entire physical fortress working silently to make that happen.